Welcome to another edition of Track Talk Live. I'm joined by the distinguished sports journalist, as usual, Leighton Levy from the Mr. Analyst channel. I'm doing from Sports Talk Tech, and we're here to do what we do best, which is to give you informative track and field perspectives. And we might touch on other sports too, probably some life advice, but we need you to engage. We need you to post your comments. We need you to drop your likes, hit that follow button. Leighton, how are you doing?
Not too bad. Been pretty busy, but then, as last few days I've been without a very important resource, which is my internet connectivity.
Right.
had to shoot my Shanice Walker interview at a friend's house, edit it at my sister's house. Got back internet yesterday after the whole from late last week right until today. So I'm good to go again, and trying to set up some more. So I've been pretty busy, but it's been mainly positive. So I'm kind of looking forward to the week ahead.
No, that's good. It's good that you're back on high speed internet, and we'll definitely get to the Shanice Walker interview in a second as well. But I think it's fitting to start with the Olympic champion over 100 meters, Julien Alfred. A few weeks ago, sitting right here, you and I were discussing, and I think you had dropped something saying she might seriously be thinking about this world record. Well, she showed up at the Woo Pig meet in Fayetteville, Arkansas, made a statement, 7:04 in the semis, 7 flat in the final, absolute control, total separation, however you want to think about it, powerful performance. Is she back, Leighton? Is she on a mission? Well, how do you make sense of it?
Listen, when I saw both races, I mean, the 7:04 was a 7:04. I mean, it was a weak field, so it was just her focusing on the things that she needed to focus on. And remember now, she's coming off an injury that kept her out of the 200 at the World Championships last year. So this was her dust shaker, and then another run behind it. So to come out after September, October, November, December, January, February, so 6 months of recovery from injury and not competing and training, and to come and open 7:04 and then 7 flat. I don't know. I was impressed. I can't say that much. I congratulated her. I asked her if she was working on her mechanics coming out of the blocks and additional power, and she said she had pretty much confirmed that she was. She's been working on some of the final points of her, because the way she came out of the blocks looks a lot different from what we saw last year, where she seemed a little bit clunky coming out. No, she was a lot more streamlined. She was generating a lot more power. The separation that she got early in that race, in both races actually, was ridiculous. You don't get that kind of separation, regardless of who you're running against. You don't get that kind of separation that early in a 60-meter race. And she got that first separation in about the first 10, 15 meters. She was clearly ahead of the field. And she was even better in the final, 7 flat. It makes you wonder, with a few more races under her belt, with the intention of breaking the world record. Maria Sharapova was, Privalova was 6:92. I remember she's the second fastest all time, 6:94. So she already knows what it takes to get there. So when you're looking at what she's been able to do in her first couple of races in the season, it all goes well. I mean, World Indoors is what, six weeks away. If she gets a couple of more races under her belt, that and Eldrick takes the load off a little bit, because I'm assuming that she's not fully tapered for her first race of the season. She probably comes in heavy loaded anyway. So once he takes a bit of load off of her, because I suspect that he wouldn't fully take the load off her completely, because there's the outdoor season to consider.
Right.
That 6:92 is not out of the realm of possibility at all. It looks very, right now, given what she is doing or what she has done, a 6:92 or 6:91 looks very plausible.
Yeah, I mean, physically she looks great. I mean, she doesn't look like she looks lean. I mean, obviously camera angles sometimes are difficult to think about, especially when you look at a meet like that. I watched it on ESPN here, and she looked really good physically. And yeah, it would be interesting if she could pop the world record, or if anybody could get close to it. Obviously, she did so a few years back, along with Aliyah Hobbs also has an equal second fastest time in the world. But we're looking at a world record that's been on the book since February 1993. It's a long, long time, and not that we want records to go off the book, but at some point, if you have a record that long, 30 years, then I suspect you're not so mad at anymore if they were to take that world record if you're a Privalova. But
but look, Privalova, a lot of people don't talk about her. I don't know why. Because she was as good as the Gwen Torrances and the Merlin Notties and the Juliet Cuthberts and the Gail Divas of the era. People forget, she was fourth in that blanket finish back in 92, where she was 200 of a second ahead of Merlin, who was 15, 1088. Privalova was a big deal. I mean, I think probably the fact that so much focus was on the Americans and Merlin Nottie and Juliet Cuthbert. But Irina was good at 1, 2, and 4.
And 4.
So, and then she suffered that devastating injury, similar to the one that Johan experienced back in 2014. So when you look at what Julien is coming close to, it's not something you can easily overlook. 694, and you remember she's the second fastest woman indoors over 200 as well, 22:01. Only Merlin Nottie is faster. So there's no questioning Julien's talent, and the fact that she was able to get as close as 694, which is as close as anybody else has ever gotten. I think Aliyah Hobbs as well, 694 as well.
Yeah, I think Gail had 695 back, and that's also 93 too.
Yeah, and
Merlin
Jones. And Merlin had 696. Yes. Because Merlin's time now I think is down to
6.
At 6 or 6. Yeah, 6 already down here.
I think it's 6 on the list. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that my girl from Mirella Hori had bumped Elena and Shelley off at the top 10.
Right.
I think she ran 697 indoors as well. So you're looking at but a small number of women have gone under 7 seconds and gone under 7 seconds consistently. And Julien is one of those. So this has to be a very positive start for her. And gives her a lot of impetus whenever she races next.
No, I have to agree. And if you just still thinking about that list, it's a lot of women that are from 2-3 generations ago. If you want to, if in a track and field lifetime, maybe even 4 now that we're thinking about it. But even just for Privalova, for those who don't know, and we encourage you to always look at the history of the sport, because Irina, 26 years ago in Sydney, pops up and wins the 400-meter hurdles, which is a reconstructed athlete after, as you mentioned, those devastated injuries. So,
it's an outstanding woman. I mean, I don't know if it's because she was white and people think that white people can't run fast, but it's one of those mythologies that don't hold up over time. But she was an exceptional athlete. She was really quick. I remember watching races where Merlin actually had to catch her late to win races. So she was quick. She had a lot of power. We saw that as well. I mean, and then to come back, as you mentioned, to recall, I think she was one of the first, if I remember correctly, don't quote me on this one, but I think she was one of the first athletes to actually resume a career after that kind of injury, that where the muscle is torn completely off of the bone. And they had to reattach, regraft, and reattach. And so she actually was the template for everybody who came afterwards, most notably Johan Blake back in 2014. So, that Julien is approaching that record and looking so sharp in her first race, coming off an injury and coming off 6 months of rust, just training. She went down to St. Lucia during the Christmas. She and Naomi London were trained on here. There's Naomi London from St. Lucia as well, who's at Texas. And, this is her first real indoor races this season. And to start on such a positive note, comfortably a world lead. I mean, look, Tia Clayton ran 7:02 at GC Foster a few weeks ago.
Right.
But that was with a 1.2 wind. So this was pure short track. This is no wind factor, no environmental factor. So it just tells you how fast Julien ran on that opener.
No, it is. And I think we had a comment earlier from Dynamic saying Julien is back healthy and ready for revenge 2027, 2028. I mean, revenge, I don't know if she would think about it as revenge, but I think maybe unfinished business, something of that sort. Yeah.
Knowing her is revenge. Listen, listen, that girl, like most elite athletes, are extremely competitive. They don't like to lose. And the only person she's lost to when she was healthy during the course of the season was Melissa Jefferson Wood. Right. I know that she went back into training thinking, I'm going, if she needs to run 10-4, she's going to, that's her mindset. In my conversations with her over the years, one of the things with Julien is that she's transformed from a person who was not necessarily confident, but now has found that confidence, especially after 2024, when she won Olympic gold in a big new PB at 10.72. Right now, I think the reason why it stung so much when she lost to Melissa Jefferson in Oregon and ultimately the World Championships is because she thought this was her time.
Right.
You know, she's Olympic champion. She was expecting to come back and win at Worlds and then dominate, because remember, Melissa Jefferson was third at the Olympics in 2024. That distant third, I think it was 10.89, I think she ran.
Yeah.
So there is no reason why Julien would have thought that going in 2025 and opening as strongly as she did with a 21.88 200-meter run, and then what was it, 10.70 something in her first.
Right. Even before that 300 that she had done in Florida, destroying.
But she destroyed with Shericka Jackson.
Shericka, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So she comes into 2025 and extremely confident and is running unbeaten until she runs up into Melissa in Oregon. And even though I have it on good authority that she was pretty loaded that week, the fact is that she doesn't like to lose, and in her mind, it's something that should not have happened. So I think redemption is one thing, but I think she wants to come and prove a point, and if it means that she has to run under 10.61, that's probably weird, and probably one of the reasons why they focus so much on the indoors this year, because that was probably the weakest part of her race.
Glad they brought that up, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the linear or lack of linear acceleration coming out of the blocks, the quick enough pickup that if you look at the race like in Oregon, for example, you realize that Melissa separated from her about 30. Julien joined her at about 60, and then Melissa maintained that speed, and Julien faded off just a little bit, but enough to lose by what was it, 200th of a second?
Yeah, it was very close. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, it's 200, 10.75 to 10.77. So, you're looking at a situation where is probably where they're going to try to get back those increments of time.
Right.
That first 60. And I think the first step towards that is establishing a world record of somewhere about maybe 6.89, where that first 60, she will be in a position where she's not going to be caught, regardless of whoever is in the race. Because she has the power. We know she has the power. She built on that power last year. And we saw where when your PB is 21.86 and you open with 21.88, it tells you. And when you run that kind of 300 and outpower Shericka Jackson down the stretch, a former 400-meter runner who's run 21.4, it tells you that they were focusing a lot on increasing her power last year, but perhaps missed out a little bit on the acceleration side of things and the early part of that race, that part where you generate the maximum amount of power to 60 and get there first, and then maintain that speed for as long as you can until you get to the line. So that's maybe what Florial. I haven't spoken to Florial in more than a year.
Right.
So I'd probably reach out to him sometime before the outdoor season starts, or maybe before World Indoors, and find out where his thinking is at in terms of getting Julien to that level where she'd be able to be more competitive over the first 60 and give her an advantage in winning races against. Look, even if the reality is that Melissa Jefferson aside, Sha'Carri has run 10.65.
Right.
Shericka Jackson has run 10.65. And if they're healthy this year, along with Tia Clinton and Tina Clinton, who I expect to be somewhere in the 10-7 range during the course of the season, the competitive nature of the field that she'll be facing will probably be more intense than last year and maybe even the year before. So that's probably what part of the thinking for them for me.
No, yeah, I think those are solid points, and I think I saw a comment from Dynamic there. We'll get to it too about him thinking she is like a 10-5, 21-5 athlete, and prior to the Worlds, and it's hard not to believe that she was in. I don't know if she was at 21-5, but probably 21-6, because I remember that race in London. It was so instructive. It was it 21-7? I think 21-71 into a headwind. She looked super supreme, and then that's after that the whole issue happened, and we just never fought, had the right Julien Alfred. And I know you're not saying this, but we have to always do it. We're not taking anything away from Melissa Jefferson Wooden, because MJW delivered one of the greatest seasons we've ever seen.
10-6-1 and 21-6.
Right.
You can't argue. You can say, I think you can probably say it would be more competitive if Julien was healthy. But you can't definitely say Julien would have won, because Julien has never run 21. I mean, she's never run 10-6, and she's never run 21-6. So to say that Julien, or even to speculate that Julien would have won, is kind of reaching, because Melissa took it to a level where only Elaine has gotten to know. And Shelley 10-60, 10-61. And Elaine run 10-54. So Melissa Jefferson is fourth fastest of all time. So you can't really you can't make a strong enough argument that had Julien been healthy, she would have won. But you don't know, because Melissa Jefferson took it to another level. And whether or not Julien would have been able to take it to that level is something that we'll never know.
Right. I mean, what we do know, it would have been a fantastic race.
Oh yeah, it would have been fantastic.
Right, and we do hope we get that. We do hope, because the sport needs it. If everybody's pushing towards that 10-6, 10-5, then it's only better for the sport, and we are here for it.
Absolutely.
We're not the ones running; we are the ones watching. So we'll enjoy all of that. All right, Astra says Femke isn't running the 800, so I want to transition to that. Leighton, we saw Femke Bol stepped on the track this weekend in France, and she ran an 800 meters that I can't really explain. It looked so comfortable. It looked like she wasn't quite sure she was running an 800 meters. And I think our coach subsequently is saying that, she just doesn't really understand it at this level. But yeah, I mean, what can we say about that race, Leighton? And the fact that I think she's no longer running any more 800 indoors for the rest of the season. Yeah.
For the season, she's going to run 600s. Yeah. One of the things that impressed me is that, okay, we know she's a 49 runner, a 49 400-meter runner, right? So she jogs the first 400 in 56, I think it was?
Yeah, it was some ridiculous.
And I'm expecting her to push, and she then continues to jog.
Yeah.
Around 159, was it 159.07?
159.07, yeah.
And I'm like, is this girl for real? Because you and I had a discussion afterwards that if she had pushed it, she probably would have run 158 or probably 157.
Right.
Our coach says she has too much respect for the 800, which she's suggesting is probably his way of saying that she was kind of fearful of what she wanted to do.
Right.
Because she was kind of well within herself, not wanting to test the boundaries of her capabilities on this first race, and ended up jogging 159.07.
Right.
Which is, this girl, we've always known that she was very talented. We've seen her in the 400-meter hurdles. We've seen her run world indoors and win the 400 meters indoors. World champion at 400-meter hurdles. The only thing she's never won is the Olympics, and that's because of the alien in the United States who's pregnant now. But when she announced that she was stepping up to the 800 this year, I was curious to see how she would approach it, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to see That intro, I didn't get to see it live. It was annoying because I had no cable, I had no internet, nothing at all. I couldn't see anything at all. But then eventually I got to see the race and watched it about 4 different times, looking for any indication that this girl was pushing in the last 400, the last 20. She was not.
Yeah. I still can't find it. It just looked like someone on a training expedition thinking about the novel she just read in her head,
Yeah.
and it was a nonchalant performance. And you look at that, it's definitely 158. It's definitely, if she pushed, I think it's a 157. And it's scary to think that you just walk up in your first race and you're gonna do that type of performance. So what she does outdoors rather this year it's gonna be interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because the thing about outdoors is that indoors is 4 laps.
Yeah.
Outdoors is 2 laps. And so because I think it's more a natural fit when you're running a distance like this outdoors, where that 400 hurdle strength, along with her speed and whatever endurance work she was doing down in South Africa, in the off season. I think if she trusts herself a little bit more, not afraid to fail, I think that's probably part of the reason. New event, you're not so sure about it. You're not quite sure what you're capable of just yet. So when she goes out there and she probably runs a couple of 800s and probably run against, I suspect I'd probably put her against a relatively weak field with maybe some 2-minute runners and so, and let her test where she's at in terms of being able to comfortably run a 56 first lap, and then probably come home in a 58 and see if 157 or 156 is possible.
Right.
Because right now, based on what we saw, I think within a year, she's a 156, 155 runner.
Yeah. And she has to be that if she's going to be competitive, because the sport is in 154 with a bunch of women that can do that. Adari coming on last year from Kenya. Obviously, you have Hunter Bell surprising the lot there, and Keely will be back. Vero, I think the Brits have this woman Buffy running 157 this year. So you just never know. I mean, there's so many athletes out there that if she really wants to get a medal, I think she really has to get to 155 as quickly as possible, maybe over the next year or so. And then,
because look, against all of those women, her flat speed is better than most of them.
Right. Yeah.
So even if her race strategy is to draft off of the leaders, instead of tucking her shoulder, maybe second or third, and just stay in pace, because she doesn't have to exert as much energy as they would to go as fast as they go. And just tuck in and then use her that incredible speed endurance that she has for the 400-meter hurdles and push home hard. She could take on a quality field after a few more races and challenge, if not beat everybody.
Right.
That's what I saw when she ran that race on the weekend. It was ridiculous. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think you're right on that. The biggest issue for Femke transitioning outdoor is she's going to run up against season performers, and they will kick pace on her in a way that she probably doesn't understand. I think outdoor is not much of a problem if you're running with if you're running on the circuit with Wave Light or a pacer, you can kind of build off that. But you get into a championship performance, it's different, and you have to learn that really quickly.
Yeah, look, it's not an easy event. Huh? I remember, not using my high school example, experience as an example. I ran a 2-minute 800 in high school one time.
Many years ago.
Many years ago. And lay down in the middle of the field at the cartridge for about an hour. I could not move. So it's not like you're just going to get up and just become a world beater. No, she's not. That's going to happen. Right. But I think once her body starts to get used to the oxygen efficiency that her body requires, how to manage the speed distribution, how to then time her runs, I think in a year she'll be among the best in the world. I honestly believe that. It's not like she's not an ordinary athlete. She's an extraordinary athlete. And I think once she gets used to that idea, what her body gets used to that idea of pushing those limits, I think she'll be right there among the best of them.
No, I agree with you. I think that makes perfect sense. Let's talk a couple more performances before we go into some other storylines. At that same meet in the Tyson meet, well, not the Tyson, the meet in
Whooping.
Fayetteville, yeah, Whoopig. We saw a world leading performance by Amber Anning, 50-51, looking really good in a very competitive race with Britton Wilson, who is happy. I'm happy to always see her because she's multi-talented, a 49 low runner on both indoor and outdoor. And then in the second installment of the 400, we saw Price out of Jamaica there, 51-61. Yeah, Nikisha Price winning there. Your take on some of that? Because in context, Henrietta Jager ran, she's the second fastest in the world, just running a couple of days ago as well too. So the 400, we haven't seen a sub 50 yet, but
and
I'm not sure if we're gonna get that.
Leaky Claver ran 50.5 as well.
Yeah, and she ran 51 flat earlier in the week too. Then she went to Madrid and ran 50. Yeah, you're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Amber looks good. Remember, Amber was part of that foursome at Arkansas with Nikisha Price and Kayla Brown. And trying to remember, I keep forgetting who that fourth girl it was. It was Amber. I mean, Nikisha Price.
Wasn't it Adelike? No, she was at Texas.
Yeah, sorry. I'm trying to remember who the fourth person was, but 50 points. I mean, to be fair, Amber has not. She hasn't completed the transition yet, I don't think. But she's getting there. And I think we saw the first indication of that. Because I know that most likely she's preparing for the British trials to pick the team for World Indoors.
Right.
So her progress is a little bit ahead of everybody else. Because I'm not sure that Nikisha Price is going World Indoors. I haven't heard anything to suggest that she is.
Right.
So she's a little bit ahead of everybody else. But she looks good. I mean, she looks strong. I remember seeing her last season, looking, she was up and down. She wasn't particularly consistent.
Right.
But it was a good run from her. I liked her first 200. She went out fast enough and she held on pretty well. Showed that her speed and strength endurance were right where she probably would have liked it to be. And it was a world lead, right?
Yeah, it's a world lead. It's still a world lead. And she looks good. I mean, and she actually, when you look at her physically, there's ways to go to her. So she's not at the prime body. Well, in the context of, we always have to be careful how we describe women. But she's not at peak performance body as, but and I like it.
She probably does come because I think she ran a couple of weeks. She ran a week before that as well, I think.
Right.
But but she looks like she's running into the kind of shape that will allow her to go to the British trials and qualify. I don't know if she's going to win at the British trials.
Right.
I just right now in my mind I can't see anybody beating her going 400 indoors at the British trials. So most likely she'll win there. And that's a good space for her. I mean, look, in Paris she ran 49.29, I think, national record for them there. She's certainly an athlete that can go sub 49 for sure. Yeah, as long as, and you have to if you're gonna really be competitive. Yeah, these days, I mean, brother.
Just to get into a final.
Yep, and especially when you look at Shawnee coming back and running as well as she has been. It's going to be even more competitive than ever. And Nikisha Price now, you can see that it seems to me that her program is designed for her to start really get goal later on in the season, maybe outdoors. And maybe some of these races are for, as I said, I don't know if she's going to World Indoors.
Right.
There is nothing yet to suggest that she is.
And when is Jamaica picking the team? And what is the process if you know, like, because obviously there's no Jamaica
as
trials.
Far as I know, what the J3 usually does, they send out invitations to find out if the athletes that they're reaching out to have interest in competing at World Indoors, and from that list, then they select a team. So once you're notified that, are you interested in going to Worlds? And the athlete says yes, then they put your name down and then they look at the top list on the World Times and look and see, okay, who are the best athletes, and probably pick from that. That's the impression I get.
Right.
Because as I said, there's no trials. Jamaica doesn't have an indoor track. I get the feeling that so far this year, it seems to me that at least one of the Clayton twins is going world indoors.
Mm.
It seems as if Akeem Blake is going world indoors. But as it relates to anybody else, I'm not quite sure. Maybe Lamar Distance, she's jump 193 over the weekend.
Yeah.
It suggests that she's probably figuring out that approach to the bar now, and is getting. Because remember, she's the only Caribbean woman to jump 2 meters in the high jump. So that she is getting back to 193. Remember last year at the World Championships, she bowled out at what 180 something, 183 or 180, some ridiculous distance that she could jump over her sleeve. So maybe she's going there because probably she needs to practice, she needs the competition as well to get back that kind of confidence that she had lost over the past couple of seasons. But those are the athletes. But other than that, I haven't heard any interest from anybody else yet about whether or not they're going to world indoors. Maybe they are, but who knows? I know Meg is probably thinking about it. I'm not sure yet. I see what happens after she competes in France on the 19th in Leuven in France. So
maybe Danielle Williams might think about it too. I don't know. She will.
Dan, based on when I spoke to Lennox at the time when I spoke to him earlier this season, they had not made a decision what they were doing indoors.
Right.
They had scheduled a couple of meets, but there wasn't anything definitive about what they were going to do, whether or not they were going to go world indoors or go outdoors. Or wait until the outdoors.
Yeah, we got the answer to the quartet there. Brown.
No, I mentioned Kevin Brown. I mentioned Kevin Brown, Amber Anning, Nikisha Price.
Oh,
the
so
fourth
there's somebody else.
Trying to remember. There's a fourth athlete. So but that's how the team I think is being selected. Based on who is interested in going.
Yeah, it's good to see that distance is back because the high jump is decent this year too. We had some obviously Manuchik already at 204 I think this season, and then she did a 201 a couple of days ago too, looking good. And by her standards, that's normal jumping, but it was good to see her. There were some other
203. That 203 that she opened was her best season opener ever, and her highest mark since the world record.
It's in the world record. So that was good. There were some other good performances all around. I don't know if you had gotten a chance to catch up with the Grace Stark race. I don't know if you saw that one there with Baptiste.
Yeah, she looked pretty solid, but then she came off with a limp. So this thing that maybe she might have picked up an eagle or something. I'm not quite sure. But Grace Stark is Grace Stark. She looks really good.
I like the Baptiste kid too. I think she's looked good over the last couple of races, but it's such a competitive landscape that if you're not really
Rosie Effiong is the fourth.
Oh, Effiong, loud noise there. Yeah, so good performances all around. We can get back to some more. I think Hunter Bell looked good running a world lead 4 minutes 0.04 there in the women's 1500 meters. Look, I don't know what Hunter Bell is gonna do this season or in the next couple of seasons, because the 800 is certainly a different space for her. She medaled, and I'm not sure if she's gonna go back to the 15. I tried to ask them, but they didn't want to talk to me about it. So
the thing about it is that, but she's had a pretty good season the last couple of seasons.
Yeah,
I mean, so there's a lot there for her to build on, and who knows? I mean, she can run both distances, so it's a situation. I guess it depends on what her program looks like, and I think you'll probably see more of what she's capable of as a indoors. Most likely, she's going world indoors.
Yeah,
British athletes tend to want to go world indoors as well, and so I think we'll get an indication of what that looks like later on in March.
Right, and for Hunter Bell, she's 32, so it's not like there's a lot of time. I suspect she might want to make a push again for next year. Yeah, you could still push for the Olympics in LA, but by then you never know what might happen. I think objectivity
is asking, What do you think? No, I'm just speculating here. Both of them could actually end up going. I'm thinking what I meant to say was at least one of them is going. So I hope that clarifies that.
Yeah, no, it would be good. I mean, it's a good space. I like to see it, and I like that the Jamaicans or even the athletes who don't come from cold weather climates are taking the indoor seriously. We've talked about it. I know it's like I'm beating a dead horse here, but there's a lot of money in the context of track and field. Let's be clear.
Yeah,
In the
indoors,
indoor
yeah.
season, there's a lot of meets. There's the goal meets. If you are top of the league, you'll get a spot into the into the gold final, and there's money to be
Yeah.
had, like $40,000 prize money out there. And
Yeah.
so for some
Make some
athletes,
money.
make some money, and the sport is truly interesting, right? Some athletes, they live outdoor, and others can't. They can't come outdoor. They basically are indoor athletes. So
Yeah, look, I mean, I say it's all about earnings, huh? And if you can add a few more dollars to your bucket, to your basket, and you're running indoors, why not? Doesn't take anything off. It actually prepares you, helps prepare for outdoors as well. Because what we've seen from Akeem Blake this year indicates or suggests that he could be running well. Because I just saw him again recently. He still looks big. Looks like the gym is a consistent part of his program this year, which means that whatever battles there are between the top four guys in Jamaica, Kitchen and Oblique and Brian, who's running a couple of meets indoors as well. It could be a bang up season, for those guys as well. So any opportunity you get to earn some money, jump at it.
And I mean, in the context of Blake, as you're mentioning, to new sponsorship, this kit sponsor, is nothing better than going to a World Indoor Championship and showing them that you can get a medal, right? He's done it. He's been there before.
Been there before. And On is actually being a little bit more aggressive now, it seems, because they signed both Kambunji sisters.
I had that on the list, but you brought it up. Munjinga, gone from Nike. When I saw that today, Ditaji's gone too. When I saw it today, I never, my immediate thought was, is it like an Alison Felix situation or something like that? But it's clearly not. I think they're aggressive. They've already gone after Soufiane El Bakali already this season. They're trying to make movements into the track and field space by getting some.
There's space, because I don't know if people know this, but Puma is kind of in a financial bind where I think a Chinese company, I'm trying to remember, actually bought a 29% stake in the company for about 1.5 billion, I think.
Something like that.
So they're not awash with cash right now.
And Nike's in issues too.
Yeah. So they're putting back a little bit. So there's a good space for On to jump into there and get some athletes who might be available,
Right.
We mentioned, of course, they're looking. I know they're looking at Jamaican market. They've signed Blake. They've signed Dejanay Oakley to another contract, with the likelihood that they'll sign her as a pro when she finishes her collegiate career. Objectively, I had a question that I think is an interesting one, where he says, how many of our elite athletes do I think will go into the Commonwealth Games? That's an interesting question, because there was a time when we used to send a lot of our good athletes, our elite athletes expressed an interest in going to the Commonwealth Games. For the past decade or so, though, more than that, actually the past 2 decades, we find that they're not that much interested in it anymore.
Right.
I mean, I don't think Oblique is going. Finish what you were saying.
No, I was gonna say I think it's the World Championship phenomena that's shift the focus on the But go ahead, sorry.
Yeah, man. So I don't think Oblique is going. I don't think Chicane is going. I don't think. I have nothing to suggest that Brand Level is going. I don't think Sherika Jackson is going. I don't think she's ever gone there. I don't think the Clayton twins. I don't think Janila Smith. I have not gotten the impression from it. Put it this way, I have not got the impression that our elite athletes are interested in going to the Commonwealth Games. In fact, I'm not even sure Julien Alfred is going to go. And she's not Jamaican either. I think what we'll see at the Commonwealth Games, what's her name? Shanice Walker said she wants to be on the team.
Right.
So if she wants to take that opportunity, she will take it. And I think we'll probably see some of our next tier sprinters, go. If he is healthy, maybe they will probably want to get Rashid Broadbell there to get him back into kind of competition shape. If I was his coach, given if he's recovered and fully able to train and prepare. I probably want him to go and test the waters there and see what it's like. But I don't think we're gonna send. I mean, maybe someone like Daniel Dodd, shot put thrower.
Thomas Dodd.
I think Thomas Dodd should probably go. Well, I don't think
Is
many
she
of our
back
elite
in
athletes
good?
are.
Is she back in good standing with the governing
Yes,
body in
yes.
Jamaica? Yeah.
I don't know. I don't think so. But she threw 19 meters just the idea. So
Yeah.
if she wants to go, they would probably send her. You know.
Yeah.
You know. Objectivity. I think I think it's in Johnny's best interest that she goes. Why? Because she hasn't raced much the last few years, and to get her credentials back on track. Because I think I don't even think. I'm not certain, but I don't think she has a sponsor anymore. I think her sponsor has sponsorship has expired. I think going to the Commonwealth Games and doing well there, possibly winning. I don't know if she can win it. Look, I know her objective. She said to me last year at trials that she wants to go below 11 seconds this year. If she can run 10.9 or 10.9 or 10.8 this year, she can probably go to the Commonwealth Games and win a medal and probably earn a sponsorship because she's 30. She just turned 30 a couple of weeks ago. So it would be, if I was her agent, if I was managing her, I'd have said, Johnny, think about Commonwealth Games because you could probably do some damage there and catch some attention there that would probably get a new sponsor on board.
Right. A couple questions. I think I see Sonia on your channel now. She's over here. There was a question from Richard Green on your channel, 748. How much money does an athlete make for an indoor meet? That depends. I think what we know this year is that if you end up getting on the top in the world gold, so it's broken down the same way as the outdoors. There's gold, silver, and meat, and so on. So and there's the appearance fee. There's the prize money for winning. The Gold Tour has more money than others. That includes like the likes of the New Balance or Milrose Games and the meet that the Calshore meet we saw in Dortmund over the weekend, Madrid. So and I think there's one tomorrow too. The Belgrade one. There's one in Belgrade tomorrow. I think.
I think so. Let me check.
Yeah, I think that might be a goal. I think the athletes earn an extra $10,000 if you are on the leaderboard here and there. So it's not tough. It's not Diamond League money like outdoor, but it's enough for them to get flown.
Belgrade is when is the 11th? Yeah. Belgrade is tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow's the 11th. Yeah, so that should be good. There's a couple questions here. Let me ask. Sonia is asking, do you think the enhanced games will be a success without enough athletes for it?
It all depends on who shows up. Yeah. All right, here we know. Here's the reason why I think that the enhanced games can make some money. I mean, athletes would probably jump to it, but it's not the elite. Not many elite athletes who are currently up in the top 10 in the world. The prize money for each event at the enhanced games is $500,000.
Yeah.
The winner gets $250,000, and then the other $250,000 is separated for the rest. That money in itself, as I said in a recent monologue I did, is life-changing money for an athlete, especially if you're not a top-tier athlete who can command big dollars for an appearance fee to go along with whatever prize money you win at the particular meet. So if you can win a race, even if it's one race for the year, I make $250,000. If you are an athlete who is on the verge of retirement or on the verge
like Reese Prescott or so,
you're going to jump at it. Look, the key thing, one of the things that I don't think people understand about enhanced games, that you don't have to take anything,
Right.
The choice is yours. Right. The choice is yours, whether or not you want to do anything untoward in terms of enhancing your performance. But let's say, look at a Reese Prescott, for example, or Fred Curley. Fred Curley, for all intents and purposes, at the back end of his career, right? He's 31. He's not going to come back and beat a healthy Kishian. He's not going to come back and beat an Oblique Seville. He's not going to come back and beat a Noah Lyles. He's not going to come back and beat a Kenny Begner. Right? So if he goes to enhanced games and win 100 in a 1080 something or 1090 something, which he's capable of now, $150,000, that's money. That's like taking candy from a baby. So what it is, I think, are the potential is that there are a lot of athletes who would consider it because of the prize money. Now, here's the other side of it. When Aaron D'Souza and his partners sit down and look at what happens on the first enhanced games in Las Vegas, whether or not it generates that kind of broadcast money and attendances that will then make it worthwhile and give them reasonable ROI on what they're investing, then it might carry on from there. But if it does not succeed, then at least the athletes come out with some money. Because take for example, what's your name? Jamaican chick there.
Yeah.
Not Shakira, not Shakira.
Yeah, the one that signed the other day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And her name's
That used to be at UTEP, who, by the way, is the fiance of Sean Bailey, for those who don't know. She is an 1134 athlete. She is she's 26 years old. The likelihood of she getting a shoe contract now at 26 at 1134 is very unlikely, right?
Yeah.
She wants to start a family with Sean, run enhanced games and win, which based on who we've seen them sign up so far, is very possible. And she walks away with $250,000. That's good enough money for pay down upon a house and start a life. Because I think she and Sean are engaged. And so, $250,000, you have some money you can pay down upon a house and then, start live your life as a family. Sean can go and run in track and field and do and thing, because I don't know if he still has a contract, but, certainly he can be on the circuit and make some money once he stays healthy. So the incentive of the money and the amount of money, because as I said on the monologue, if you keep winning a Diamond League race, it's $10,000.
Yeah.
You have to win 25 Diamond League races to equal the amount of money you get for that 1 hour shot at enhanced games. So from the monetary aspect of it, it will probably attract a few more athletes. Because I don't think that going to care whether or not it affects the image of the sport in itself one way or the other, because once them get their money, people can say whatever they want to say.
I agree. I think that's what's happening, right, Leighton, in the sense that, it's an objective is asking about will they get the money? They will get the money, because it's not about their performance. It's if these guys are on a longevity quest, D'Souza, all these backers, these billionaire guys, they're looking for, testing the body to human limits. They want to live longer. It's like almost like a tech cult thing, which I didn't release my video on it, but it's a whole process on this. And so the athletes that are going are athletes who clearly aren't at the top end of the sport, and so they're lending a level of legitimacy to something that is I don't necessarily think should be happening, but and these guys are selling supplements. Yeah, they're selling supplements. They're gonna sell you these kind of ways to live longer, and you have these games. It's a part of the whole marketing scenario here, where you could say, look, it's like I would say, it's like the Red Bull strategy, right? They don't sell soda, but they sell this idea of extreme performance, and so getting these Olympic athletes in swimming, in boxing, in track and field only will lend the enhanced game credibility. And as you say, they don't have to take the performance enhancement, but once you're in that kind of space, it's just over. And I think I don't know your take on this. I don't know if I've asked you explicitly on this, because like in some sports, I think it was it diving or one of those World Aquatics rather, they basically codify in their bylaws that if you go over there, you're done. Track and field hasn't gone that far yet, but should they, right? Should they say if you go there, that's it?
Yeah, the thing about it is that once you step into that level of an enhanced athlete, your credibility takes a hit immediately. So if you come back to the traditional sport, people always question your performance, regardless of what you do, regardless whether you're clean or not, because you've already besmirched your own image by competing at enhanced games. So
imagine
you're picking a poison.
Yeah, imagine when we look at athletes who miss whereabouts violation and we say, look, you're opening up yourself for a lot of questions. Imagine going into an enhanced games like this. I just think, my take on it is that I don't really like it, but let's move on. I know there's a bunch of comments coming left, right, and center. I want to ask you about something since we talk about. I saw someone said Commonwealth Games and other things. Gout Gout. I don't know if you saw this. There's a report. He's not going to the Commonwealth Games to represent Australia. He's going to go and focus on the World Indoor Championships, because not indoor, the World Junior Game, U20 Championships in Oregon later on this year, because the timing is just like right beside each other. I listened to the interview from Australia there, Leighton, and his coach was right there. And I said to myself, actually, this is probably the right thing to do, because the kid is young. There's no real reason to go push him to run in the Commonwealth Games. I know he was at, they pushed him at the World Championships and so on, but let him grow up in a way that he'll have all his life to be with the senior athletes. He won't get a chance again to run at the World Under 20 Games, and he probably wants to do something special there. What's your take on it? Do you think it's a good idea?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, going to the World Championships is one thing, but I think what he discovered last year is what it means to compete at that level. Right. And so they would have answered a number of questions last year about what is required, because the man up at top fast. I mean, everybody was making a big deal about how fast he was running until he ran into the really fast men.
Right.
So don't push him. He just turns 18, right?
Yeah. As a kid, yeah.
So go World Under 20 Championships, compete there, and then take your steps. You went up to the highest level, found out where you were wanting. So now you know what gaps you need to fill. You know what areas you need to work on. You need to work on maybe additional strength, additional speed endurance, some core work. I don't know what it is. Whatever it is that they discovered.
Yeah. Plus he's growing too, right? Yeah.
Yeah, and his body's still developing. So take your time. You got a taste of it at Worlds last year. You found out that when the man them really fast, and because he ran 19.28.4. We saw Brand Level jog that. They put them there around. And so go World Under 20, win there, and make some money, make your name for yourself, and take your time, 18, 19, 20, and come back to the big leagues when you're ready. When your body is fully developed, when your strength levels are close to where they will be optimally. When your mechanics are where they need to be, where everything is in place, then you can come back and then compete against the rest of these guys.
Yeah. And I think they're sensible, because I remember listening to his agent a year ago, and they're like, we're not doubling. Last year they wanted to double, because he's a big sensation in Australia. Everybody thinks he's, they put him in the same category as the next Usain, and that's a hell of a pressure on any athlete. You just can't do that, because you don't want to do that, right? And so you have to let him develop, grow. And I think last year he has a nice contract with Adidas, I think, and he was experiencing what it's like to party with the big boys. But it takes a lot to go back-to-back fast times, and especially as he's still doing schoolwork, right? He's not ready for this kind of a life yet. So I think they made a sensible choice there. Yeah.
Yeah, because look, when I run 19, you run 19 and you look fast, and you run 20 points, you look fast. And buck upon someone that run 19.6 for habit.
Right.
Yeah, it's a different kettle of fish there. So baby steps,
Yeah. Thanks everybody for coming through. Don't forget to be liking the videos. I know we're streaming on live on both channels, so that's how it goes. We'll get to it. I see Astro here is gonna get upset with me right now, but I want to bring up Grand Slam track again. I think he thinks it's a dead story, but today they Grand Slam track filed the bankruptcy in court. They were supposed to do it I think a week or so ago, but they updated the thing today, and they planned for the restructuring. In it, they said they are thinking about paying the athletes 85% of what they're owed, and just probably 1.5% for most vendors. So Front Office Sports, Margaret Fleming, who I've had on the channel, she broke the story again this evening. Your thoughts on this? We've talked about this before. It's a saga. A couple weeks ago, the Athletics Managers Association said, "Look, if you don't pay the athletes, we're not gonna force our athletes to participate." World Athletics came out shortly afterwards and said, "Look, we're not gonna sanction the meet if you don't pay your debts." So I don't know if they were going in this direction, Leighton. My take is that when they saw that this meet will not be viable, especially if the governing body isn't supporting it, now they're trying to see if they can pay the athletes at least a significant portion of what they owe.
All right, so here's the thing. And Sebastian Coe said as much when he was in Jamaica as well.
Yeah.
That unless the meat is viable, they won't be sanctioning it. Cut and dried. The key thing is, and we discussed this before, is trust. If you are not able to pay, all right, so them say I'm going to pay the vendors 1.5% and pay the athletes 85%.
Yeah.
The athletes getting 85% of the money is good because they probably need it more than anybody else. Some of these vendors, however, they're
very
not
small.
rich people. Yeah, they're small, independent, small businesses trying to get their feet under them as well. That's not good news for them. So here's how this washes. If they restructure Grand Slam track to come back in some shape or form, which right now looks very, very slim, and the odds of that is very, very slim. As a vendor, given what transpired before, you're not likely to come back to that any at all.
Right.
None at all. And even with the athletes getting 85% of their money, if I'm an athlete and I got burned to the tune of Sydney $300,000, what's her name? Akira $137,000.
Gabby Thomas.
Gabby Thomas $200,000. I'm not going back there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not going back there. So for all intents and purposes, unless Grand Slam track can raise money to cover their debts and to then have enough left over to really propel a new restructured league, it is dead in the water. Look, Michael Johnson, actually, he loaned Grand Slam track $2.7 million as well. Right. So it's not like he's getting away scot-free. Like, he's lost money as well. The thing about it is this. When you're in that kind of a hole, I don't think you can see the sky. You can't, because that hole is so deep that all you're looking at is darkness on the way up, and it's going to be a long way up, because which investor is going to come on board to sink money into a black hole of debt and then hope that this thing turns around in a year or two? We are talking about a couple $100,000. We're talking about tens of millions of dollars.
Millions, yeah.
Yeah. So if I'm an investor and I'm looking at it, even if I'm Musk, who is worth $800 billion now, which is a ridiculous amount of money, even if that to him is his pocket change, I wouldn't put that in there, because it's not, as Sebastian Coe said, it's not viable. Look, I wanted Grand Slam track to succeed primarily because I think it was time athletes got paid what they were valued.
Right.
But
that's not how markets work.
Yeah, that's how it works. And the reality is, unless they come back with a structure that makes sense from primarily a financial standpoint and a broadcast standpoint, I don't see it happening. I can't visualize a scenario where Grand Slam track makes a recovery from what has been happening, because every time a story comes out, it's worse and worse and worse.
It is, yeah.
So I mean, it's sad, because I honestly think that Michael had a genuine intent to do something transformative for the sport. It's just that the model, it didn't make sense. I mean, in hindsight, it's a lot clearer, but but the model didn't make sense.
Yeah, I know it is. It's a tough thing. I think John Epic is saying we should go to Live Golf. I guess you need Saudi money, or you need some kind of sovereign wealth fund. But it's not. They don't do it like that either, right? You have to. There has to be some kind of a way to make the meet viable. And look, the American sports and entertainment market is a very tough market to crack into, and there's a lot of new sports that are popping up. A lot of volleyball leagues. A lot of this, that. Yeah. Everything is coming, but they're doing it in stages, and there's some banana league and something. You can have markets, but you have to be very careful how you structure these things. And the problem is you want to attract the very best talent. You want to take them away from, say, going to a Diamond League race or a continental tour. It's not easy. You have to pony up the money. So I do understand the kind of dilemma they're in. They're in a catch-22 situation, but it's one of those things. We'll move on quickly because I know we're almost upon an hour here. You may have seen, you saw this obviously, Jakob Ingebrigtsen. I spoke about it on my last live there. This finally deciding to do surgery on the other leg because his Achilles there is giving him some trouble. So it's not the Achilles itself. I think it's the sheath around it. So they decided to do something there, which makes sense in a down year, Leighton, because he has not had the best at times over the last few years. In different ways, injury for one, two, tactical racing, especially over the 800 meters, as he's been found over the 1500 meters rather, he's been found wanting. So hopefully he gets back into good shape. But someone was asking, the reason why I bring it back up because last week someone was asking, do I think Jakob is done in the sense that, you know, did he peak too early? And I was like, I find that hard to say. He's 25. There's a lot of time ahead of him, assuming he's healthy and can resume the prep. And not only the health part, he also had the trauma of dealing with the family situation with his what are your thoughts on him? You think he can come back to the very top, try challenge the Ikam Helga Rouge world record at some point?
Yeah, look, one of the things is that his event is not an explosive event. It's a more of a speed management endurance event. So any pressure on his athletes is not going to be as impactful as that of a sprinter, for example.
Right.
You know, sprinters usually don't come back well from those kind of surgeries. But a middle distance runner, yeah, if they come back and have enough time to rehab and get that flexibility back into the Achilles, I think he can come back and do as well as he had done before. Right. You know, because
and he didn't have a rupture either, so that's important.
Yeah. You know, so the key thing is that do the surgery, use a year to recover. And I say he's young, and middle distance and long distance runners can go up into their 30s. So he still has a long career ahead of him. And I think while he might probably struggle in the first year back from that surgery, in another year after that, I think he'll be back close to his best, if not at his best. I don't necessarily see those kind of surgeries as being detrimental to middle and long distance runners. It's more detrimental to sprinters and the jumpers. Those people and the jumpers as well, yeah. Which is not an explosive event. So you have to pull out for that.
Yeah, cool. All right, but before we go, Lynn, I want to bring up you know, you're a busy man all the time doing all these great interviews. I think the last time since we did a live together, you had the coach of Immaculate and then the Shanice Walker interview. And I had a lot of time for that interview because when I looked into the eyes, which is not always the best place to get, you have to listen, but I think she is on course to do something very special because she seems grounded, and you know, you and I talked off here about what kind of a special mentality it is, and it's always good to see that. So, let's talk to me about that. Maybe the Immaculate thing. Are you anywhere close to predicting the Jamaican Championships yet for high school championships, or you're still far away from that?
The thing about it that I need to talk to some more coaches first. I need to look at some more of the athletes because I know this is a truncated season. Some of the meets have dropped out.
Right.
So you're not seeing the athletes with the regularity that you need to see them at yet. At the youngster Goldsmith meet, I'd see them last week. They had some good times, but they were mainly winded. So it's kind of hard to gauge. So, I mean, I think for the first time, actually, I can tell people this. For the first time this year, I probably tried to come up with some kind of prediction, maybe early March. But for now, I'm still looking at everybody and looking and see what to pull. But at the race of Shanice Walker, I spoke to Shanice last year when she ran 10:98 at MCs. And from that point, I had an impression of her that she does not say things lightly. When she says something is what she intends to do. And she did tell me last year that she needs to do some more work in terms of strength and conditioning and stuff like that. And you heard her mention that in that interview. But she said she did a lot of strength work to get her upper body more stable, her core more stable. She's pushing out of the block, but I saw that when she ran the 709, she came out at a really nice angle and she was really powering forward. And the 22.96 or the 200, she said that she had fallen out of love with the 200, but now she's back in love with it. 22.96 indoors is a pretty good time.
Very good.
And it tells her, I think, that she's on the right track. So I think, she have an NIL deal as well. And, when you talk to Shanice Walker, what you get from her, as you mentioned, she's a grounded individual. She's not caught up in her own hype. She's very focused. She's very level-headed, very mature. And she has a sense of humor as well. I like her a lot. I think, there are a lot of times, and I think I've said it before on this platform, that a lot of Jamaican athletes, young Jamaican, I talk about Jamaican athletes because I don't have as much interaction with athletes from other countries at this stage of their careers.
Right.
What I do find is that a lot of our young athletes get caught up so much. It's a two-sided thing. Some of them get caught up in the accolades that is afforded them from media and from their supporters. They're the greatest thing, and they start to drink their own Kool-Aid and they start to get uppity. I don't know. That's not wrong word to use. They start to have a kind of delusionary image of themselves. And on the other side of it, there are some of them who just don't like to talk any at all. They just stay away from the public and hide away because I don't think they have that confidence to communicate and or compete. What I get from Shanice is that she is the best of what we can offer at athletes in this development stage of their career. Confident, knows what they're about, knows what they need to do, and tries to get it done because they realize that what they need to do is what is going to be required for them to succeed. I get that from her. As you heard she say, the work is continuing for her. It's not the process is nowhere being close to complete. She plans to go pro when she graduates from college at the end of the season. So she knows what she needs to compete. She knows the people that she's going up against. She knows the Jamaicans that are in front of her, who she needs to get either on par with or get by. So she knows what she needs to do. And I like that from her. And she was very honest about where she's at. And listen, that was probably one of the best interviews I've done because I think she was really honest about where she's at and where she wants to go. And so there is, I as I said to her when we concluded the interview, I told her that I wish her the best of success. I said to her, I don't remember I said it in the interview. I said that when I run 10 years something and 22-3 or something, I don't remember exactly what it was. But that's what I want for her this season, especially outdoors.
Right.
But that's where her mind is at. Right. Especially outdoors is where the real thing is. So based on where she ran last year, if she can execute her first 60 like that, semifinal 60 that she ran at Razorback. Was it Razorback or was it Bob Pollock? It was Razorback. Yeah. I don't remember what it was. I think she can probably run 10.9 low or 10.8 high this year.
Yeah.
And probably 22.5 outdoors. If she does that, that's something to build on for 2027 and 2028. So,
yeah. No, it's good.
I really like that interview.
Yeah, like to see that for sure. Well, Leighton, we've been doing it for a little bit over an hour, and so want to thank everybody for coming on. Don't forget to like the channel, guys. And we have the tickers scrolling across. If you have not subscribed to Leighton's channel, please do so, and give me do the same for mine. We do this often, and so we'll be back soon. Are you getting up early tomorrow, Leighton, to watch a little bit of West Indies versus England T20?
Let's put it this way: when I wake up is when I will watch it, but I'm not going to get up and watch them.
Right. In fact, is it the late game? I haven't even checked if it's a late game.
The game, I think it starts at 4:30 a.m. my time.
Oh, it's the early game.
Yeah, so I usually am up by 5 o'clock. So yeah, I'll take a peek at it.
No, it is the 8:30 game, so we're fine. 8:30 tomorrow. Yeah.
Is it 8:30 game?
Yeah, it's not the 4:30 game. It's the Australia-Ireland is the 4:30 game.
Okay, no,
So
I have an appointment of on the road, so I probably watch it on my phone because Disney shows them and I have the Disney app on my phone.
cool.
So this is got Disney broadcast the matches. So I watch them there. But but I watched some of it. I watched the US lose to Pakistan today. That US team is not a bad team, you know.
Not a bad team at all. Yeah.
You realize that a lot of none of the matches have been blown so far. This World Cup stars so far.
Nepal should have won that match against
Nepal threw that game.
Yeah, against England.
And Scotland is a pretty good team.
Yeah, the Dutch should have won against Pakistan too. So yeah.
The what do you call them? The satellite countries are not doing badly at all.
Right. Yeah.
So
I mean, it's good to see. I mean, I'm not a big T20 fan, but I watch everything. So we have to watch.
I'm a Test cricket kind of guy. I mean,
all day and twice on Sundays.
Yeah, man. I enjoy T20 to a degree. Yeah. But I like when T20s are played when India and Australia and
South Africa
maybe South Africa, yeah. But the rest can go on. I hardly watch IPL anymore. But Test cricket, boss.
Yeah,
I like the drama of it. I like the hills and valleys, the peaks and valleys in that Test cricket. I like the strategies. I like the tactics. I like the mentality of the players who have to grind out anything. It's fascinating to me.
It's the best. You get everything in a 5-day game.
Yeah, that's why they call it.
We had
test,
some good stuff earlier this year. Ashes was good. Yeah, for sure. And I think that was really good. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, the Ashes were not what I expected. I expected England to be more competitive.
Right.
And they were steamrolled by the Australians. And I think what's the brand of cricket they call Bazball?
Bazball.
I think Bazball has been found out.
Yeah. I never liked the Bazball thing at all. I mean, I always think that they kind of, I didn't really give credit to the West Indies teams of the 70s and 80s who really was much more ferocious in terms of
what they could beat.
We could do whatever we want. So we'll see. People asking about the Winter Olympics. No, I'm really watching.
We talk Winter Olympics later this week. The Jamaica, what's her name? Mika.
Right.
Competes on the 12th. And I think the men's team, the 4-man bobsleigh, competes on the 22nd. And then the 2-man bob are in between. That's, but it starts from a Caribbean perspective, because Trinidad as well will be on this week, later this week, from the 12th, day after tomorrow, going onwards. So we're looking forward to that.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of the ski stuff, but I haven't really. I'm not a winter sports, Yeah.
Yeah, I it's funny enough, and I used to watch a lot of winter sports back in the day.
Yeah.
But not so much anymore. I don't know the downhill slalom is to me one of the most exciting things. When them going between the flags and the jump is crazy. And there was an interesting story there. Guys were injecting their penises.
Yeah, I talked about it the other day. They were doing
hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid. Forget more aerodynamic. I'm like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it is. The lengths or the lack thereof people go to in order to get an advantage in sport.
Yeah, it's crazy, but so we can probably do something after that. I'm trying to line up a couple of interviews. Actually, I did an interview. I can tell you guys. I did an interview with JD Manuel last week. In fact, the day before I lost my internet service. I'm not sure if I want to publish it.
Right.
She's shy, and she wasn't particularly open because she's shy. And I don't know if publishing it will embarrass her or it will help her.
Right.
I'm mulling it now. I'm gonna edit it tomorrow and see what it looks like.
Yeah. Maybe the clips of it then. Yeah.
Yeah, but because she gives some like one-word answers and stuff like that. I really want people to get a sense of who she is. She's a really delightful young lady, but China's thing. So if I do publish it, don't be too hard on her.
Yeah.
She's shy. And we tried it twice, but we had some connectivity issues. So we had to schedule it during one day when she was at school, which is one of the reasons why I want to carry it, because she made the effort to get it done at school, and we did it at school. And so let's see. I'm going to edit it and see what it looks like. I might take out parts of it and just keep the best parts of it.
Cool.
But yeah,
All right,
that, and I'm
well,
working some others. But guys, it was good as usual. But thanks you guys. Thank you guys for joining.
Yeah, you have a good evening, Leighton, and we'll be back soon. You know, you never know. We'll post it. You know, there's meets tomorrow and a lot of track and field, and we gotta do some other sports. And I'll leave you with I don't understand Liverpool, but that's how I'm ending the live.
Brother, we could do an entire show about that.
Yeah, and I'll be laughing all day. But anyway,
Slot needs to go.
Yeah,
but we talk about that another time.
All right, take care. Bye, everyone. Take care.
Take it easy, guys. Good night.